When it comes to rides, this one is serious fun. The new Cub, only from Honda.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the Coors Extra Gold Super Challenge, round 1 of the Camel Supercross Series. Now, qualifying is over, and we're set for a pair of main events. First up, the 125 class. We've not had the opportunity of seeing these youngsters yet tonight, but I can tell you, Dave, from past experience, that it is going to be great racing.
Well, they're the Young Turks for sure, and they're here to put on a show. The whole goal in the 125 class is to get yourself noticed. If you win a race or if you win a championship in this division, for these youngsters, that can be the ticket to a factory ride and a big contract in the 250 class for next year.
And the 125 class is on the line, and this one is just about to get underway. Now watch the riders. They're hunched over the front of the motorcycle. They're revving the engine when the gate drops, and you'll notice that each section drops all at the same time, so each rider has an equal opportunity to get out of the gate. Then they're off, and look, a crash in the first corner. We'll get back to that crash, but let's set it up for you right now. On the extreme right-hand side of the screen, number 31 aboard that yellow Suzuki. He just double jumped into the lead. That's Jimmy Gaddis. Right behind him, the green Kawasaki, number 43, Michael Craig. Behind him, Jimmy Button, Buddy Antonez, and here's that crash, Dave.
Basic traffic jam. Pretty hard to blame anybody for that one. Just too many guys in too little space, 3 of them down.
I think it's called anxiety, wanting to get through that first corner ahead of the pack, but that's tough to do when you've got about 15, 18 riders in front of you.
Craig on the Kawasaki, the aggressor here, looks to the inside. He's got the line, cuts the veils close. He'll come out ahead of Gaddis to take the lead. But boy, he's almost off that motorcycle. I think he's riding a little over his head, and Gaddis comes back around him on the outside. These guys are so pumped up, Larry.
Indeed they are, and why not? It's opening night, round 1 of the series in Anaheim Stadium. 66,000 spectators. Now, most of these youngsters in this 125 class, and that's what they are, Dave. They are youngsters. This is the training ground for the stars of tomorrow. From here, they'll elevate themselves into the 250cc class. Now, most of them have never raced in front of audiences like they're doing tonight, and that has got to pump anyone up.
New guy on the move here as the lead battle continues up front. Here is Buddy Antonez. He has moved around Button to take over 3rd spot. Sets his sights on the leaders, Gaddis and Craig, and they continue to have a great battle. Antonez may be riding the more strategic race here. He let all that first couple of laps thrash get sorted out, let these guys beat on each other. Now he'll set them up and try to run them down. They got a good race going, and now they both seem to have settled in and they're running good lines.
Number 31, Gaddis, your leader. 43, Mike Craig in second. And running in third, Buddy Antonez, rider number 60. And look at that move. Craig is all over Gaddis. His strategy now, Dave, is very clear. He's trying to force a mistake out of Gaddis, and that's kind of unusual for this early in the race. I would have thought he would be content to follow for a few more laps.
A lot of people say in racing the rule is don't follow the guy. Whatever you do, don't sit on his rear wheel. Try him. Show him the front wheel. If he takes the outside line, you duck to the inside, and Craig was doing exactly that. He's trying to shake Gaddis up, get him to make a bobble, and then be able to slip by. But while they're doing that, Antonez in yellow is closing right up on him. This is going to be a 3-rider race, side by side through the whoops.
Well, you have to think, though, that the action up front between Michael Craig and Jimmy Gaddis is being caused by the rider in third place, as you pointed out, Buddy Antonez. He came up seemingly from out of nowhere. He's put the pressure on the front runners and made it difficult for them to take it easy. There goes Craig on the inside, and Gaddis again with that good drive. He caught the rail around the outside, got up a good head of steam, cleared the double jump, and Craig behind him taking the inside line could only make it a single. So here we go through the whoops, and again Antonez putting on the pressure, and again the two riders drawing side by side. This time Michael Craig makes the pass, and it looks like he's going to make it stick.
patience is a virtue. Craig just waited for the right opportunity, stuck it to Jimmy Gaddis.
The question now is not whether or not Gaddis will be able to repass, but whether Gaddis can hold on to the number 2 position. Sometimes a rider will get into a rut a little bit discouraged because something like that happened to him, and he'll drop his guard just a little bit. Antunez will be quick to pounce if that happens. Here's our leader and a look at how he got there.
Craig set this up in the previous corner by taking the high line. That puts him on the inside as they come into this left-hander. Nothing Gaddis could do about it.
Back to the action, and rider number 43, Michael Craig, aboard that lime green Kawasaki, is starting to pull away from the rest of the field. Meanwhile, behind him, Jimmy Gaddis, number 61, has his hands full. Right behind him, Buddy Antunez, and look at this. Jimmy Button from Phoenix, Arizona, aboard that Honda, has jumped into the fray. Now, Craig is out in front. He's all by himself. He has no idea what is happening behind him. Two things could happen here. Either they'll get caught up in that battle for second, third, and fourth, and they'll be worried about each other and drop further off the pace, or they'll push each other to new heights and they'll start to close on Craig. We'll have to see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, Antunez is definitely keeping Gaddis at full speed, pressuring him. You saw him bump his rear wheel there in the previous corner. He's looking for a way around. His concern is that Craig is getting away. Antunez wants to make the pass on the inside, looks down. Is it there? Craig moving away out front. Antunez has got to get that pass made and go after him, or I'm afraid Craig may win this thing in a walk.
He could very well do just that, because right now Jimmy Gaddis is riding defensively. What he is trying to do is take the line away from Buddy Antunez to keep Antunez from passing him. Now, that's all right if you want to hold on to the number 2 position, but in doing that, you're actually going to go slower. The key to riding a 125 is to be aggressive. That's what Michael Craig is doing out in front. He has no one to pace with, but he's riding just as hard and just as aggressive as he possibly can.
We talked at the top about getting noticed. This guy was almost noticed last year. 5th in the 125 Western Regional standing. Mike Craig switched from Yamaha to Kawasaki. Obviously likes that motorcycle, and if he continues to ride like this, they'll notice him a bunch before this Western Series is over.
I think we should point out that in addition to the Western Series, there is an Eastern Series for the 125cc riders. Now, this is the beginner's class, if you will. They're experienced motorcycle racers, but for Supercross, well, it's all brand new to them. So the country is divided into Eastern and Western regionals. Meanwhile, behind the leader, the battle still rages, and Jimmy Gaddis, number 31, holds on to the second place, but we've had a change for the number 3 position. Jimmy Button from Phoenix, Arizona, has passed Buddy Antunez. It could be that Antunez just got tired.
Button's had the opportunity, the luxury of watching all 3 of these guys up front as we continue to watch Craig dominate the race. He's been sitting back there perhaps with the cruise control on. Now suddenly Button in red has pushed the button, gone into 3rd spot. That's going to leave Antunez for the moment to ride as the caboose of this freight train.
Now, as this race wears on, another factor is going to rear its ugly head, if you will, and that's the lap riders. We saw one just a second ago as Michael Craig puts a couple of them between himself and the pack of riders behind him. It's going to make their job that much more difficult. Now Button is really on the gas. They get by one of those lap riders, and he is approaching the rear wheel of Gaddis.
This is definitely a Button charge. Notice how he's using the berms up high at all the exits of these corners. He runs in, boom, bounces off and rebounds back the other direction. It's an old motocross technique that really works well now that these motorcycles have 12 to 13 inches of suspension travel. So we see 2 very different styles here in a great battle for second.
The key to the Button charge is something that you alluded to earlier, Dave. He's being aggressive. You can't ride a 125 and do well any other way. Meanwhile, Michael Craig is starting to catch some of the lappers that I talked about just a few moments ago. Now, it could be a problem. And look there. Craig had to cut between 2 of them. One of them came to almost a dead stop on the racetrack. Just a quick turn of the handlebar is all that saved Michael Craig from being dumped onto top of that camel jump.
So good reaction time for Craig. And I'll tell you, when you're out front and leading like that, nothing will drop you quicker than the lapper guys. All the fast guys talk about them. The other side of that coin is the only way the lapper guys get faster is running with fast guys like Craig, Gaddis, Button, and Antunez.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is how a racetrack looks when you're on a Yamaha FZR. And this is how it looks when you're on something else. See why winning on the track results in some of the most advanced motorcycles on the street. Yamaha.
Motorsports fans, hold on to your seat. Get ready for Supercross thrills, spills, and chills. This new home video is packed with the most outrageous and unbelievable moments in Supercross. We'll put you smack in the middle of the action with Jeff Ward, Rick Johnson, Damon Bradshaw, and other Supercross stars as they battle wheel to wheel. From start to finish, it's the best of the best. We've put together the most spectacular spills, the highest flying, hardest driving, berm-busting, handlebar banging action ever on one home video. Let your VCR bring the most exciting entertainment on two wheels into your living room. There's never been anything like it. Supplies are limited. Order now.
Interested in a better hand soap? Not me. I can cope. I don't need no lava soap, no. Regular soap won't always work, but lava with pumice will. Interested? No, no, no. Lava, the don't try to cope without it soap.
Just how easy can your Yamaha dealer put you on a new Yamaha? That easy. Can-do financing for a limited time only at your local Yamaha dealer.
Welcome back to Camel Supercross. The 125cc final is just about history, and it's been a good one. With a couple of minor exceptions, I'd have to say, Dave, that the riders in this one performed very, very well.
I'm impressed with Craig because he was able to come out of that early scramble, get himself together, set a pace, and run away. Look at this. He's showing off for the folks here as he heads for what turns out to be a pretty easy victory.
Now, we can only speculate, but that easy victory could be due in part to the blocking that Jimmy Gaddis did early in the race. He held up this fellow, Buddy Antunez, who is currently running in the number 2 position, and Jimmy Button, who is running 3rd.
While we were away, Gaddis has pulled off the racetrack, so that could well be your finish order. Gaddis is going to run downfield here today as Craig runs away with it.
We're on the final lap, just a few more corners to go, and Craig will take the first victory of the season in this 125 series. Now, Craig will have his work cut out for him throughout the rest of the series. A couple of riders involved in that opening lap crash that we saw earlier. You can bet one of them, Jeff Emig, is going to be a factor. There's the checkered flag, and oh boy, you talk about smiles. There's one happy young man as Craig wins it in what turned out to be a walk-away.
Gaddis' retirement leaves Antunez and Button 2nd and 3rd. Zip Ty Davis 4th. Kyle Lewis 5th. Let's go to Terry Boyd, who's with our winner, Mike Craig.
Michael Ray Craig, Team Green Kawasaki. Mike, what a battle. You battled it through the whole moto with the Suzuki guys. Tooth and nail?
Yeah, I got behind Jimmy, and I just kind of pressured him until he made a mistake, and then I was kind of hammering on him a little bit. My dad, everybody from Kawasaki told me to just mellow out if I'm in front. So once I got out in the lead, I kind of just took a deep breath and try to ride as smooth as I can, and don't look back.
Now, in the early laps, you and Jimmy Gaddis were really going at it. It looked like you were banging a bit more than bars out there.
Yeah, I was just trying to put all the pressure I can on him just to, if he's in shape, I think he could have hung up with it, but I mean, the guy rode a good race, but I was just trying my hardest. I was putting everything I got on him.
And there's another look at Mike Craig as he crosses the finish line. That has to be the biggest win of his career.
You know, Larry, we said going in that the idea for these 125 kids is to be noticed. I think all 66,000 people and maybe a half dozen factory reps are going to leave here tonight knowing the name Mike Craig.
And when the series moves east, we're going to see a whole new bunch of riders, and we're going to see the whole thing over again. They're exciting there just as they are in the West. They're fast because they're hungry. Now, we're just a few moments away from the 250cc main event. Before we get there, though, let's take a look back at the 1989 season opener right here in Anaheim Stadium.
Kawasaki's Jeff Ward and Honda's Rick Johnson were supposed to provide the fireworks at the '89 season's opener, Anaheim Stadium. But when the gate dropped, neither of those guys was close to the front. In fact, Ward was on the sidelines with a sprained ankle. Johnson back in the pack. Out front, number 20, the former Supercross champ, Team Suzuki's Johnny O'Mara. In recent years, Johnny O's had knee problems that not only kept him from winning, but in fact kept him from working out. So it's no wonder that as the race progressed and O'Mara stretched out his lead, everybody was wondering if he could keep it all together. Just past the midway point, that question was answered. O'Mara, with the race firmly in hand, pulled off to the side of the racetrack. Big problem here. The problem was not the knees, it was the motorcycle. The frame was broken. It was later learned that a special part in the steering stem of the bike was the culprit. Meanwhile, Ricky Johnson found himself in the right place at the right time. He'd worked his way through the pack, was in second place when O'Mara dropped out. The defending Supercross champ took the lead, was never threatened. Later on the victory rostrum, Johnson had this to say: "My bike won, I didn't. The Suzuki broke, my Honda kept running." Behind Johnson, it was a battle for the runner-up spot. That kept the crowd entertained as Guy Cooper from Stillwater, Oklahoma, fought off the repeated charges from Jeff Stanton, number 7. Here's one of those charges right there. The Michigan kid, 3/4 of the race in the books, finally got by Cooper, held on to finish second. Cooper remained in third, giving Team Honda a sweep in the first 3 spots.
And there's last year's winner, Rick Johnson, with his mechanic, Brian Lunas. Can he do it again? Let's check in with some of the fans here in Anaheim and find out what they think.
Who do you think's going to win the race today?
Jeff Ward. Damon Bradshaw.
Rick Johnson.
Jeff Stanton.
Hopefully, I believe it'd be Ron Tishner, Suzuki.
John Michelle Bell.
O'Mara. We'll find out who was right after this. Stay tuned.
You see all the prettiest faces at your Discount Tire store because everybody likes to save money. Everybody. Discount Tire Company.
Hi. Do you think we need to worry about AIDS?
Have we not been married for 10 years?
Yeah.
Have you ever fooled around?
Fred.
Me neither. Do you shoot drugs? What I read, it seems to me we're pretty safe.
One of the first steps toward stopping AIDS is talking about it. Call your local AIDS hotline or 1-800-342...
No matter where you are, no matter where you go, it's D-O-W Dow. The Dow multi-million-dollar warehouse wipeout. Take this complete Sony system. Sony, 160-watt total power home entertainment system with Sony's high-speed dual dubbing deck, Sony wireless remote. You get the 160-watt total power receiver, quartz digital tuner, 5-band equalizer, dual dubbing cassette tape deck with Dolby, the stereo turntable, the 2 Sony speakers, even the Sony audio component rack. Dow's lowest price ever, just $444 or just $15 a month. There's more. D-O-W Dow.
Ooh, yeah. You lift me up, you take me higher, you got me reaching for the top, you got the power, I know to get.
Introducing the all-new DR and street legal dual sport models from Suzuki.
The Coors Extra Gold Super Challenge Round 1 of the Camel Supercross Series is about to get underway. I'm Larry Myers. With me to help bring you all the exciting action of this main event is Dave Despain.
White knuckle butterfly time, Larry. A lot of money, a lot of points, a lot of factory contracts at stake here. Everybody totally focused on that starting gate. It drops, you go.
And the 1989 Camel Supercross season is underway. 20 of the fastest Supercross riders in the world thunder down that long straightaway, and 2 of them are not going to make it through corner number 1. One of them, Mike Kudrowski. I'm not sure who the other one was. They're both okay. Meantime, out front, rider number 8 aboard the Yamaha, Damon Bradshaw. Right behind him, Jean-Michel Bale, the Frenchman. In third place, number 20 is Jeff Matasevich. Fourth, the reigning Supercross champion, Jeff Stanton. Behind him, Rick Johnson and a whole host of riders. This Supercross is underway with all of the tough guys, the top guys up front. Let's go back and look at that crash.
5 guys in a 2-man funnel here is all it amounts to. Kudrowski, number 11, got into the guy in front of him, slid into Larocco, took them both out.
In the meantime, it's Damon Bradshaw out front. Dave, I have no idea where Bradshaw came from. To be honest, I thought Bale was going to walk away with a whole shot of this one. Jeff Stanton was worked up to 4th, and here comes Doug Dubach, who's moved into the number 5 position.
Bradshaw won the start by learning from the heat race. He was stuck on the outside there and won the start, so he came back and took the outside for the main, but it's a big gamble. Watch for him way up by the bales, hard on the gas. If he doesn't beat all of those guys through the corner, it's going to be a big crash. Ooh, he just gets ahead of Dubach, drops Doug back to 5th. Bradshaw comes out with the lead. Great piece of work.
And that's the kind of gamble that a Supercross rider has to make, Dave, if he wants to find himself in the winner's circle. Right now, we're looking at a battle for the number 2 position. There's Matasevich. He squeezes underneath Jean-Michel Bale, and he holds on. Matasevich, the same rider that Bradshaw tangled with in his heat race, has moved into the number 2 spot. Right behind him, Jean-Michel Bale. If Bradshaw looks over his shoulder and sees Matasevich, you got to wonder, will it start playing tricks with his mind? Because that is the guy that put him down. Although it was not Matasevich's doing, it is the guy that put him out of that heat race. And here's the pass again.
Just a good inside move by Matasevich. Bale left it open, tried to ride the the rail. Jeff said, I'll take the short way, and got into second spot. Now he's all over Bradshaw, and this is definitely a grudge match, not only from the heat, but from a year ago in the 125 class. Bradshaw was the best in the East, Matasevich the best in the West. Now we find out who's the best, period.
If indeed one of these two guys can hold on to win this main event. It's 20 laps long, and we're only 3 down, so there's a long way to go in this one. Right now, Bradshaw is making it look easy, while Matasevich seems content to follow. But it's not all that easy. I want to tell you, behind him, the toughest Supercross riders in the world. How tough? Earlier, we posed that question to a former Supercross champion. Jeff Ward, rider number 3, had this to say.
Well, I think it's a lot tougher this year. There's a lot of riders coming up. You know, Ricky got injured last year. I was injured, and some other riders got in there. They got some wins and got some confidence with them, you know, and Jeff Stanton's one of them, and Damon Bradshaw's coming up, Jeff Matasevich. There's a lot of these riders, Kudrowski, that are going to, you know, they're learning, but they got the ability to win. So I don't think it's just going to be a runaway by any rider this year.
And we'll be back with more main event action right after this.
Come ride with me, take you to the places that you wanna be. Yeah, come ride with me, gonna take you places that you never see. Come ride.
Nothing beats the danger and excitement on the world's fastest half-mile track. See the Valleydale Meets 500, and you could win a new car Sunday afternoon live on ESPN.
Welcome back to round 1 of the Camel Supercross Series from Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California. Damon Bradshaw in the white Yamaha, number 8, is your leader. He was your leader. Jeff Matasevich with a good drive on the inside carried Bradshaw all the way up to the bales. In fact, almost through the bales. He tried to put Bradshaw into orbit, and Bradshaw, not playing any of that game, got on the brake. But it was too late. The damage had already been done. Rider number 20, Jeff Matasevich, aboard that Kawasaki from La Habra Heights, California, had taken over the number 1 position. Now it's Damon Bradshaw's turn to follow. His turn to try to sort out the lines that belong to Matasevich and see if he can return a favor a little bit down the line. Dave, let's go back and take another look at that pass.
What happened to Bradshaw was that he started looking back over his shoulder. Same mistake he made in the heat. This time, bang, Matasevich just jams up the inside. And I think that was a little bit of vengeance on Matasevich's part. He thought that Bradshaw railed him in the heat race. He comes back and evens the score in the main event. And now it's 50-50, and they can go out and settle it clean between them.
The rider parked on the side of the track kicking his motorcycle was Guy Cooper of Team Suzuki. Evidently, Cooper having some kind of problem out of sight of our camera. Meanwhile, having no problem at all is Jeff Matasevich and Damon Bradshaw. And that's the way they would like to keep it. However, Bradshaw has from time to time experienced problems. Earlier, he talked about them.
Well, my biggest goal is to stay on 2 wheels a little more this year than I did last year, and I think that's just going to come from riding the 250. I ride a 250 a little smoother than I do a 125. And to try to be in the top 5 at the end of this year. You know, maybe my goals are going to change, you know, throughout the year after I feel a little more confident on winning. I feel like I can win tonight, and, you know, so I'm just looking forward to it.
Larry, I'd like to have Damon's problem. 17 years old, got the good-looking hairdo there, got the factory Yamaha contract, making more money than you and I put together. Only thing wrong with his life right now is Matasevich is first and he's second.
Well, I rather doubt that in Bradshaw's mind he intends to stay there. Only time will tell if Matasevich can hold off the charge that I expect to come from Bradshaw momentarily. Behind them, the best Supercross riders in the world are the established stars, the veterans, and frankly, the riders that were picked to win it all out here today. Dave, we're looking at what could be the changing of the guard.
I think it's remarkable that a 20-year-old kid and a 17-year-old kid are having this incredible battle for the lead here, while all the big names are back in the pack. Maybe it's a one-night fluke. Maybe it is, as you say, Larry, the changing of the guard. Let us not lose sight of the fact that these kids have a tremendous amount of experience. Supercross riders typically start racing motorcycles when they're 5 and 6 years old. So they've got a lot of track time, a lot of seat time under their belts. What they don't have a lot of is experience as the stars of the big show. They've been in stadiums, they've been before 66,000 people before, but always in the support class. Now, it's just these two kids for the biggest prize in Supercross racing. I think the winner will be the guy who stays cool under pressure.
And talk about pressure, did you see that move that Bradshaw tried to put on Matasevich and how Matasevich countered it? Bradshaw tried to put a wheel on the inside of that corner. Matasevich hit the brakes. They call that brake checking. Let's go back and take another look, Dave.
Bradshaw set it up in the previous corner, Larry, by going wide. Matasevich knows he's out there and anticipates what he's going to do. Here's the chop back to the inside. He's hoping to dive into the corner before Matasevich can block him. Matasevich just cuts right, jammed the brake right there, and that's how he caught the front wheel of Damon Bradshaw. Damon had to make a quick save to keep from going over the bales.
Now, Damon has switched riding tactics. A few laps ago, he was content to follow Jeff Matasevich. He's been studying Matasevich's line, but now, all of a sudden, Bradshaw is becoming aggressive. He's changed his lines all over the racetrack. Matasevich doesn't know where to look. He looks to the inside. Bradshaw switches and goes to the outside. The next time around, Matasevich moves out to the outside in an attempt to block that move, and Bradshaw is cutting back to the inside. And look, it is getting to Matasevich. That was plain and simple an error because he tried to switch his line. He looked for Bradshaw, didn't see him back there. He wondered where he went, and he's losing concentration. So if Bradshaw can force that kind of a mistake on Matasevich, he'll be able to make the pass, make it cleanly, and get on about his business.
Bradshaw's using every trick in the book to keep Matasevich aware of his presence. He'll use just the engine noise, the sound of the engine revving behind him. Matasevich hears that every corner, every lap. He knows Bradshaw is right there beating on the door.
A little bit further from the door, perhaps down on the front steps or out on the porch, comes Jean-Michel Bayle, the French rider. Bayle has been quietly sneaking up on the front runners.
Larry, I'm not sure that Bradshaw and Matasevich even know that Bayle is back there. They're so intent on racing each other. He's taking advantage of that. They're probably holding each other up a little bit. Bayle is free to run his own lines, and he's definitely getting closer. But the story of this race is still Bradshaw's effort to get around Matasevich. And I noticed that Matasevich is looking back a little bit more. Same mistake Bradshaw made in the heat race. You don't beat a guy by trying to anticipate where he's going to go. You worry about where you're going to go and get there as fast as you can.
This is exactly what took place in the 125cc main event, an offensive and defensive riding situation. In this case, Matasevich trying to block Bradshaw. He doesn't want him to make the pass, obviously, and Bradshaw going everywhere he can. And look, there's the corner where they earlier almost collided. He does, Dave. He got the line out of that corner. He's got the drive. They're side by side. He'll have the inside going into this little camelback, and he did indeed make the pass. Bradshaw set that pass up at least 4 laps ago. An unbelievable situation for a rider this young. I don't know how he does it. Dave, let's go back and take a look at where Bradshaw set the pass up and actually made the pass.
It's almost the same as the near miss that he had a couple of laps before when he winged the rear wheel of Matasevich. He fakes to the inside right here, hoping Matasevich will look. He does, and with that, Bradshaw goes to the outside, knifes back across, has more momentum than Matasevich, plus the inside line, and that's it. Jeff's history. Damon's got the lead.
An unbelievable situation, as I said earlier. And look, now, Jeff Matasevich is being challenged by Jean-Michel Bayle. Either something is wrong with Matasevich's motorcycle, or he's just plain lost his momentum. Now, that can happen. A rider has the lead, has things going his way, when all of a sudden the cork is pulled, which happened to Matasevich when Bradshaw passed him. And we could be in a momentum situation here.
He looks tired to me. He's starting to make mistakes that he wasn't making earlier. I'm not sure what it is with Matasevich, but I think perhaps the pressure of the race with Bradshaw's getting to him. He's just making little bitty bobbles, and that's what's letting Bayle get to him.
Now, Jean-Michel Bayle has won 2 world championships. He did it in the 125 class, did it in 1989 in the 250cc class. I mentioned earlier that Bayle had considerable Supercross experience here in the U.S. He ran 1/2 of the circuit last year, his best finish being a second down in Miami at Joe Robbie Stadium, and he is all over Matasevich, inside, outside, you name it. Look at this.
Looks like a replay of the Bradshaw episode. He's going to have the inside line coming into this right-hander. Boom! Out of my way, kid. I'm gone. great move. That's a guts move. They can both fall down very easily in that situation.
Well, that's what Supercross is all about. You have to be aggressive. You don't have the liberty of setting back and taking a wide sweeping corner just to make a pass. You have to go in there and bang a little bar to do it. Let's take a look at it again.
Well, it's not exactly brain surgery. Bale knows he's going faster, and he'll be on the inside when they get to the corner, so bang, he just uses Matasevich for a berm. Jeff runs off, bounces off the hay bales, and falls to third.
Back to the action where Damon Bradshaw, number 8 aboard that white Yamaha, pretty much has things his own way. He's working his way through lap riders. That's Sean Kalos, rider number 15 out of Litchfield Park, Arizona. And this one is winding down. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Baseball tonight. Tuesday, Friday, doubleheader. Wednesday, ain't nothing better. Catch it.
What are you doing this weekend? Yamaha Water Vehicle dealers are now offering rebates on selected models during Big Splash Rebate Days. Call today.
Welcome back. This is round 1 of the Camel Supercross Series. I'm Larry Myers. With me, Dave Despain. That's Damon Bradshaw. With 2 laps to go, Bradshaw is leading the series opening event. Setting in the number 2 position, rider number 22, the French world champion, Jean-Michel Bale. This has been an extremely exciting race, Dave.
It has indeed, and Bale has been the late race star as he came up, took that runner-up spot away. Too late to challenge Damon Bradshaw. The headline on this one is going to be, the kid wins in Anaheim. 17 years old, and he's going to whip the best in the business and beat him impressively. There's nobody behind him. He's gone. He's going to run away with this thing.
Even more significant is the fact that the first veteran is back in the number 4 position, and that's Jeff Ward. Out in front, we have a rookie, Damon Bradshaw, as Bradshaw takes the white flag, signifying 1 lap to go. In second place, Jean-Michel Bale, the French rider, who has limited Supercross experience. And running in third, Jeff Matasevich, another rookie. The veterans are nowhere in sight.
Wouldn't it be awful if Bradshaw had one of those experiences now that he had so many times last year where he did fall off while leading? I think not. I think he's got this race in hand, and now all he's thinking about is how high he's going to jump when he gets to that final checkered flag.
I'll tell you what, if that did happen, I'll bet his dad or Bradshaw would come looking for you with a shotgun if they watched this telecast. And here comes Bradshaw. He's got to be careful. He's working his way through lap riders like it's the opening lap of the race. If I were Bradshaw, I think I would be taking it a little more cautious. He has bobbled 3 or 4 times since the camera's been on him this last lap. But from where he is now, he can coast home. In fact, one good endo and he's across the finish line. There it is. A double bumper. Hands off the bars. Bradshaw wins his first ever Supercross race. That has got to make Team Yamaha happy. Finishing in the runner-up position, Jean-Michel Bale. Jeff Matasevich was 3rd. Jeff Ward, the first veteran in sight, was 4th. And Doug Dubach, another Team Yamaha rider, finishing in the number 5 spot. 6th through 10th looked like this. Rick Johnson, the defending champ Jeff Stanton in 7th, Mike LaRocco, Ron Tishner, and Johnny O'Mara. Let's go down to Terry Boyd, who was with Damon Bradshaw.
All right, we're down here on center stage with the opening round number 1 winner of the 1990 Supercross season, Team Yamaha's, the Southern sensation, Damon Bradshaw. Now, Damon, you had a tough battle all night long with the chicken. What was going through your mind when he was on your back tire?
Well, I knew he was back there and he was putting a lot of hard pressure on me, and I just wanted to try to ride smooth, and once he got around me, I wanted to do the same as him. He was me, putting a lot of pressure on him, and I noticed he started making mistakes, and he made a mistake, and I went for the pass and rode smooth the rest of the race.
Now, in your first qualifier tonight, it looked like you guys were banging more than bars. Was there some bad blood when you guys got back out here in the main?
No, I just wanted to, to put out to show him that I could win. When he come in under me in the qualifier, I let it get to me, and I didn't let it get to me in the main because I was thinking a little more about the race than I was in the qualifier.
All right, your winner of the round number 1 of the 1990 Camel Supercross Series, Team Yamaha's Damon Bradshaw.
Larry, what a main event, and what a night for the kids. The rookies, Damon Bradshaw and Jeff Matasevich, 1 and 3. The French kid, Bale, sandwiched in between in second. The household names, Stanton, Johnson, Ward, they're in the back playing catch-up. This is going to be some kind of series.
Can you imagine if we had a box score for Supercross? Over on the left, we would have the national champs, the veterans, the guys that were favored, zip. On the right, we'd have the rookies, the no-names, 1. Can they keep it up? That's the question. We'll find out next week in the Houston Astrodome as round 2 of the Camel Supercross Series gets underway. Hope you'll be able to join us. I'm Larry Myers for Dave Despain. We'll see you then right here on ESPN.